Podcast. I am your host, Steve Collette, founder of East Brands and FranCanada. And I'm really pumped to have my guest today, Mr. Malcolm Wilson from Tommy Gunn's Original Barbershop. And I'm a big fan of this brand, as you can see. And we're going to get into it and talk all things franchising with Tommy Gunn's. Welcome, Malcolm.
Thank you very much, Steve. First of all, love that shirt.
Oh, yeah.
You're sporting the brand and sporting the colors, right?
Always, bud, always.
Tommy Guns, we're just as excited as you are partying together. It's a great company that kind of aligns with our values, our vision, our direction, where we're going as an organization. So I'm excited to do this podcast with you and talk more about the opportunity with Tommy Guns.
Yeah, well, it's good. Listen, it's always exciting to talk to you. I always say whenever you and I talk, I think we energize each other so much, we probably drive everyone nuts. Huh?
That we do. That's okay, though.
Well, listen, let's first of all, excuse me. Pardon me, my voice is a little rough. I had COVID last week and just getting over that. So anyway, jump into it. Tommy Guns. Malcolm, how long have you been with Tommy Guns and what brought you to Tommy Guns?
So I started at Tommy Guns March 2021. I had been in franchising for about 28 years at that time, strictly on the quick service restaurant side. I was probably like one of the many of the individuals that during COVID, you kind of reflect and you look where you are in life and your career and that, realize I want to try something new. I want to push my boundaries, right? But I want to make sure I go to the right organization, one that aligns with my vision and my direction and who I am as a person and who I am professionally. So I wanted to join a Canadian brand. Very proud to be being part of two great Canadian companies, Tim Hortons and Bushu. So Tommy Guns, Canadian born and raised and bred. And then two, I wanted to be in a family-run environment, right? That was looking for franchising for long-term. Not join a company that was looking to flip it. One that was, this is what they do is franchising. They're looking for the long-term success and somewhere that I could see the runway where the growth and development would occur. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to do something, I really want to make a difference in people's lives, right? And one thing that I love about Tommy Guns is we don't sell haircuts, we sell confidence. The impact you can make in a young man's life when they come in and enjoy a Tommy Guns service it's immeasurable. And having a young son myself and seeing the impacts that was transpired through COVID, felt this is where I wanted to be in life, right? Be a company that can make a difference in people's lives, right? So doing something not only good for the individual business owners that invest in the Tommy Guns brand, but also what you're doing good for your community. So that's what made me join.
Love it. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, good. And you're certainly extremely qualified in franchising. And I think that, you coming to Tommy Guns certainly has brought a lot of value to them. And being in franchising as long as you have, and you must, one thing I noticed about Tommy Guns, we'll get into the secret of success, but for a large business, there's not a whole lot of red tape. You guys are just easy to deal with. If you need something done, it's not like there's 100 different layers to go through. And that obviously funnels down to your franchise owner relationship. It must, because when you look at the secret of your success, that has to be one of the defining secrets. What would, in your mind, and I'm sure there's lots of them, what is the secret of the success with Tommy Guns? Because, you're cracking on 100 units. You're going international here. It's a true Canadian icon brand.
I think for us, your people grow your business, you don't grow your business. We look to surround ourselves with talented individuals that we empower, right? That we give them the tools and resources, and we call it to run the play. And that's one thing that we preach at every single thing we do is that you're effectively the deputy sheriff. We give you all the tools that the sheriff is being the business owner, and that you're empowered as long as it's what's right for the business. Are you doing what is ethical? And are you making a difference in people's lives? Then you know what, go ahead and do it, right? And then we'll figure everything else out afterwards, right? A lot of times people, there's the paralysis by analysis approach. They overthink everything and think they can't do something because it's not clearly written out in the system. No, you're empowered to make a difference. And let's talk about it constructively afterwards and realize, you know what, we can make this better for everyone. And that's one thing we really pride ourselves on, having that open dialogue with our business owners, where we realize the results happen in the field, not in the boardroom. Let's listen to what our team members have to say. That guest services, that barbers. Let's listen to our business owners and our shop leadership, which is our managers. Hear what they have to say. So tell us what we can do better. How can we make your life easier? And to be fair, we understand very clearly the only way we make money is if our business owners make money. We only get paid if you're successful. That's the way it works, right? So we're very transparent as a company. We want you to be successful.
Love it. Well, man, you knocked that out of the park. So let's talk about your business owners. You guys really don't like the term franchisee, do you?
Not at all. Like for us, it's a negative in our mind. We don't like the franchise or franchisee mentality. We believe it creates like a parent-child dynamic, where we want to have adult conversations with individuals that have took their time money and their energy to invest in our brand and our business. We're in business together. We are not a head office. We're here to support office. We are here to support you in your journey to become a Tommy Guns business owner. You're joining the TG family, as we like to say. We'll give you the tools and resources to be successful, and we'll help you every step of the way. We don't want to go in and create that should have environment. It's like, how can I help you? Well, how can I coach, mentor, and develop you and your teams? What can I do to help you get to the next level in your business? And that's what we're here for.
Right. That's a really good line, Malcolm. We're a support office, not a head office. That really rings true with your guys' values, how you seem to operate. But so what do you look for in a business owner? From what you look at the business owners that own Tommy Guns, most are multi-unit owners. And like, there's no better validation than that. When you have, and what percentage would be multi-unit owners, Malcolm?
Well, actually, by May next year, 90% will be multi-unit owners, because a couple are single units. We're currently 80, but just approaching up on the 90 by May next year, which really speaks for the validation for us as a franchisor. Our business owners are reinvesting and opening other locations. They wouldn't be opening other locations if they weren't making money, right? And one thing that we do like is our business is built to scale, because most of the individuals that buy barbershops can't work in the business. And what I mean is they can't get behind the chair and cut hair, right? They're forced to work on the business. And we feel that makes our shops better run overall. They're part of that local community to get people to come and support their barbershop. They're part of the barber community to get talent to work for them. And they work on the community inside the four walls of the shop. Make sure they get the right experience, that every single guest that they walk in the door, do they leave in a better mood? Yes, they do after they come to Tommy Guns. They walk in and strut out.
Love it. Love it. And, I was in the business for, a shorter amount of time. And I do know, I can speak this objectively, that, it's hard to compete with Tommy Guns in that, because you look at this industry, while you guys are scaling, it can be a little stagnant when you look at a lot of other brands that are in that sector. And I mean, I think that, coming back to it, I could keep coming back in every question and asking why that is, but I think that as our listeners listen to it, you're kind of speaking that. So, I mean, when you look at success, is not just the people, I would assume it is also the location that you pick. One thing with you guys, where you have sites that are secured, and you say, here's your cost to do it. Here's your cost. That is tremendous value in a traditional style franchise system, because, as you know, a lot of time you sign the franchise agreement where you go start looking for real estate. You go back and forth if it's the right spot. Why is that so important to you guys? You guys nail the location and do the build out. Why?
Well, there's a couple reasons. The very first thing is that it's a big step in someone's life journey when they're maybe exiting out of a company, or they're leaving a job that they have, and they're about to venture into new business that most individuals have no experience in. It's the first time not only owning a business, but owning a franchising and being in the barbering sector. We wanted to take away probably the most stressful time in their business life and just take ownership of the process. And the reason why we took ownership is that we want the business owners focus on getting talent, getting barbers, getting guests to come in the shop to support them and being part of the community. We'll give you that cost certainty. And there's a couple of reasons why we give cost certainty. Everyone understands what's happening with the housing crisis. Everyone understands with the rising cost of inflation. We've all seen the news at this point in time. So we felt that we needed to create cost certainty for businesses, so they knew what it cost to join the Tommy Guns barbershop chain. And the reason being for this is that, first, it creates cost certainty with the banks. It's easy for the banks to finance out. They understand the 30-70. You inject 30% personal capital, 70% will be finance. Second is, we're going to take spaces where there's a lot more work that needs to be done for it. We don't want to pass on the cost to you. For example, just opened Upper Canada Mall in Newmarket, Ontario. We opened up the location. We started our construction process. The landlord didn't disclose to us it was a bank previously. And so it was 6 feet of floor we had to cut through. We had to cut through 18 inches of concrete walls that were in the back, right? But that's our costs. That business owner doesn't pick up. They're still paying the same price for that shop, that same location. Right. So we're incurring all the costs. The learnings are on our end. And one thing I do feel very strongly about is that when the pressure's put on ourselves and the fingers pointed at us, we're naturally going to get better at it. We're going to build projects faster. We're going to build them more in a timely manner. We're going to build them more cost effective, and we're going to be more innovative. And that's key, innovative as a company. How do we
Right.
stay true to who we are? We're not just going to accept things so that every project isn't the first time we've done it. It's going to be almost like a repeat and tweak approach. We're going to build
Mm.
it and they look objectively, what can we do better? And then tweak it for the next one until we get it dialed into the way we want every shop to look like moving forward.
Love it. Well, wow. That's extremely valuable. And we you hear that quite often. And it certainly makes, from a development standpoint, your job that much easier when you can disclose that kind of
Well,
information.
Steve,
So,
when you're looking at that FDD and you see a cost range from 450,000 to 1.1 million, you
mhm.
just hear the hairs in the back of your neck go up. You're just like, okay, what is this really going to cost me? No, this is what it could have cost you. It's going to be 575,000 for an 8-chair barbershop. That includes your franchise fee, your opening inventory, your retail and your shop supplies, all your equipment, all your leasehold improvements, which is your construction and materials, your signage, your IT, your training. Everything's all included for one price. And that makes it easy when you're processing this as a new business owner. It isn't going to cost me any more money. No, if we go into a project and it isn't what we thought it was going to be, that's our cost, not
Right.
yours. Right.
Yeah, and that's like you said, a franchise disclosure document, while it's legal in going to be 7 provinces now, most brands worth the weight in salt disclose in every province. But it can be scary when you see that and you don't know, and you're looking at it going, "Holy shit, 400,000 to 1 point. That's quite a stretch, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very. But so okay, your expansion plans. I mean, you guys are going global, man. And it's impressive. Like, so where you were, where you are, and then where you're going. You guys are overseas. You're down under.
That we
You're
are.
heading into the States, and so tell us what's up.
So we're kind of a little bit unusual in the franchising. We started in Western Canada and Red Deer, Alberta in 2009, and then we expanded east. So we're doing a lot of it here. In Canada, we're focused on 2 areas, Eastern Canada, so that's Ontario East.
Mhm.
I would say the lower mainland and Vancouver Island area. And then we're looking at how we can grow internationally. So over the years and having been in the sector for a long time, had the opportunity to expand in Australia. In a previous life, they owned a company called Chatters, and they acquired the distribution rights to a company called Price Attack in Australia. Strange name, but it's Australia, so that name resonated very well with Australian consumers. So they decided to launch Tommy Guns there in 2016. So we have 13 locations there. So we're really looking at expanding throughout Australia, really in the 5 major markets from Perth, Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. And then we're expanding into New Zealand. We have 2 shops in New Zealand at this point in time in Auckland. It's just a natural. So wherever we go in the world, it's amazing. Men are looking for personal care services. They really are.
Right.
They want to be their best self, will look in the best. Doesn't matter what country they're in. So really focus on growth in Southeast Asia area. And then also to top it all off, the US. The US is a great market for us. We have a lot of Canadians go south. They're aware of the brand and the business, and they see there's a void or a gap in the marketplace. There's more upscale brands that are like the $80 haircuts, or there's the discount ones. But there's nothing in that middle market. And we pride ourselves on being a masstige concept. We're a price where we get a premium product, a premium price, and a premium service at a price the masses can afford. That's what we call ourselves masstige. That middle market's completely missing, and that's where we see the opportunity in the US is the middle market.
Love it. Love it. So let's talk. No matter where you go, there's technology, right? And technology, as it changes, and that's a very great word. The term AI is thrown around a lot. But how's technology helping your business owners as they scale and grow their business, as well as finding new business owners?
Well, in 2009, we were the first one to launch a mobile app, and no one really had at the time. Having a website that's bespoke, it makes it easy to check in for a service, right? Then having a wait board when you walk to the shop, so you clearly know, are you signed to the right barber? Do you have the right service? And when you're going actually in for a service. Having a check-in kiosk, because we realize there's lots of individuals that don't want to talk to a person, right? They want to go in and they want to check in at a kiosk where they're walking in a mall, it's busy, and they don't want to talk to the guest service person. We want to make sure we have every piece of technology to make it convenient for a guest to check in for a service. And on the back end, we're a shared success model. We release our single week on each one of our KPIs. So we pull our reports from Shortcuts, which is our point of sale system, and we're with Telemax, which is our provider that collects all the data from each one of our locations. We'll show you what your sales are this week, what your sales are last week for every shop of across the network. You're going to see your comparative same shot sales growth. You see your network growth, and you'll see each one of our KPIs, how many guests per hour you're going to do, how many new guests per week you're going to have, what's your recommended retail. So that's your retail services behind the chair, because we believe our barbers need to educate, recommend, provide the right products for your hair type, your skin type. How many your NPS score, net promoter score, If you do what's good for your guests, you're going to be successful of our TPS overall score and our operations score. We release that every single week. So you know how you're doing, and you're able to look at how other business owners are doing. So that way you can talk to your other peers. You don't really just have to talk to your support office. You can talk to your other peers, other business owners. Say, hey, by the way, Jennifer Kwong in Burlington, Ontario, how are you be so successful at getting this many guests per hour through your shop? Well, this is what I do, right?
Right.
We like that freedom and that sharing of information. We're one family here, right? And we're not in competition with one another. We're here to help one another. And that's
right.
our belief as a company. And that's what we still that with every single business owner that joins our company.
Yeah, well, you can see it. You can certainly. So I'm a big fan of your branding. I've always been a big fan of branding. I just think it gets better. And that must be important to you as a company. I think your branding, when you look at it, it's my son loves going to Tommy Guns. And so does my father, who lives out in Qualicum Beach, you know? So the branding, it really gears towards guys. Like, what's your secret behind your branding?
I think a couple of reasons, I would say. First is having a family that's been in it for a long time and having young individuals, son and son-in-law running the company, really staying in tune with the audience that we're really targeting. Second is that we have a lot of barbers, right? And barbers they have that cool factor, right? They got to feel like they're bringing their personality to work. They got to say, this is a place that I can work at, and making sure it resonates with them when they walk in the door. If it's too corporate-y, it won't align with their vision or direction. It has to have that cool factor, right? Almost a little bit of safe, edgy, where your family environment's clean and safe, but it's got a little bit of appeal to it. Whether it's the skull logo that resonates very well with the barbers, whether it's
as well with the tattoos, eh?
The tattoos really matter, and we have the tattoo Tommy guys too. Whether it's old school car look, we want to make sure it resonates with men when they walk in the door, that they feel this is not a salon, it's a barbershop. We want it to be a barbershop. And when you look at all our marketing, it's very clean, right? It's very bold, and that resonates people. It's not, I would say, those softer colors. It jumps out at people when they walk in there. It's like, okay, this is a cool place to be. That's where I want to be.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at it that way, you guys really nailed the branding. And maybe it changes one day, maybe it doesn't. And again, kudos to you. I think it just gets better and better. So let's talk with business owners. And the one you probably get asked, you're probably sick of getting asked that. Do you need to be a barber to own a Tommy Guns original barbershop?
And that's the first question, Steve, we get asked for every single one.
I bet.
No industry experience required. Actually, it's better if you're not from the industry. You don't have any preconceived notions or ideas on how it's supposed to be run. You don't have any bad habits, right? You're just going to learn to do things the Tommy Guns way. And that's what we separate ourselves from it, because we do things differently than the other barbershops do, right? We're a walk-in model, make it very simple. We have a queue management system that makes it more effective on turning the chairs, getting the guests actually into their seat. We have technology that we invest in heavily in our training and education. So no experience is required. We're looking for individuals that I would say that have a strong business acumen, that want to make a difference in people's lives, that not only in their community, but also in their barbershop. You have a sector that was probably been overlooked a lot of time on the barber development. How can I develop them personally and professionally? Whether it's improving their skills and developing them to be a barber mentor, or doing all our training classes or cut collection classes, or whether it's developing them personally, like how help on their financial management, how they can help them grow and develop them into becoming maybe shop leadership down the line. So they can lead and inspire. They're very comfortable in dealing with individuals that are very left-wing thing. They're artists. They're stage artists, right? So if you think you're going to go micromanage a barber, you're going to fail miserably. Right? To no end.
Couldn't agree with you more, Malcolm.
You need to celebrate the talent. You want them to bring their personality to work while adhering to the Tommy Guns way of doing things. You need to inspire and lead them. If you can inspire and lead barbers, you will be successful, because talent will come want to work for you. They will, right? They'll perform the service, and that will drive your sales.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think the micromanagement part is important. The last thing you want to do is tell a barber how to cut hair.
No, because first of all, you can't cut hair anyways. You're not from
right.
You're not even qualified to say it in the first place. But really, like, if you're looking for a business that limited hours of operation, you're 9 to 9, Monday through Friday. You're not like I came from the food service side, which 24/7 at times, draining hours, right? You know what? You're not forced to cut hair all the time because you can't, so you're forced to work on it. So you really get to use your skills, right? How do I lead and inspire my team? How do I be part of the local community? And how can I make a difference in people's lives? This is the business to be in at that point in time. This is not going to be replaced by technology. People are always going to come in for a haircut. They're dying for that community experience. They're dying for that human interaction. And we give that to them when they walk in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can see that in your business owners. When most are multi-unit owners, they're not stuck behind a barber chair. That's called working in your business. And it sounds like you guys are very proud of working on your business. And the scalability factor that you have there, the only thing better than owning a successful franchise is owning multiple. That even comes back to when you're doing your construction fit up. Whenever your franchise owners, correct me if I'm wrong, are chasing plumbers rather than doing marketing and PR, it's usually not the best course of action.
And that's why we did the turnkey model, Steve, because
Yeah.
it's not a good use of time and resources. We want you focused on getting guests and getting barbers. Let us focus on do what we do well. We will build your shop up for you. Couldn't have said it better, Steve.
Love it. So I know we touched on your areas that you're looking to expand. You guys are, again, from the West Coast side, you got her nailed. And so as we're breaking into Ontario and the East Coast provinces now, that is your primary focus for Canada this year, for 2024. I know we have, oh my gosh, must be half a dozen sites secured that are ready to go. So in 2024, that's Canada. What do you see for your growth plans in a nutshell for 2024?
I would say overall in Canada, I think we will open 3 shops in Western Canada in 2024 and probably 12 to 15 in Eastern Canada. So that's right. Ontario East. The growth will be focused on Ontario East. It'll be a mixture of Atlantic Canada, right? Mm-hmm. For either new markets or infill opportunities in St. John's, the Halifax market, and as well as Southwestern and the GTA and Ontario, right? Those are kind of our key markets, right? I would expect we'll do anywhere from 13 to 15, depending on how it's going to go. But, and that's where the real estate's available, to be honest with you. That's the key thing.
Absolutely. Right? And you look at Halifax and Moncton, they're both on the top 5 economic and development growing communities in the country. And as you're seeing, there's a lot of people. I live in the East Coast here myself. My parents are on the West Coast, so it's not like you can go home for the weekend, but you see that there's a lot of opportunity down here. And actually the population is going like this here, from a lot of, not just immigration, but a lot of immigration from Ontario. So now with US, and as you're looking for that, what do you look for? Is it different what you look for in a US business owner than it would be in a Canadian?
Yeah, for a couple of reasons. First is that we're effectively a startup in the US, even though you have the strength of 98 shops globally at this point in time, you're effectively a startup. So you're really probably looking for more of a pioneer, more of a bit of a risk taker that kind of wants to get in on the ground floor, a concept that's unknown, but has the strength of a large international franchisor, has the strength of the team and the resources, process and systems. So it's kind of the best of the both worlds. And that's what we hear from people. It's like, you're kind of the ideal startup scenario in their mind, because even though you're unknown here, you're proven elsewhere. You have everything already in place. So it's not like you're starting with a franchise that only has 1 shop in the US. You effectively have 98 already, right? Even though they're not physically here, you have them, right? So you have the team. So we're really looking for that pioneer, a bit of more of a risk taker that wants to get on the ground floor, wants to scale with a business, right? And that kind of would be more of an outside the box thinker at times. Like, how am I going to get more talent to work for? How am I going to cut my way through the noise to make Tommy Gunn stand out? That's what we're really looking for there.
Love it. Love it. So now, kind of getting back to the what you look for in a business owner, a lot seem to have business experience. You don't necessarily have to. Correct me if I'm wrong, Malcolm. You guys can certainly show those ropes. And there are still multi-unit opportunities. If someone effectively was looking at a certain geographic area and was wanting to expand a multi-unit, do you still have, even though you have 98 locations, do you still have that ability to do multi-unit ownership?
That we do, and that's kind of our key audience. We want individuals to have more than 1 location, right? That's when we think we're going to be the most successful. There will be opportunities where, for sure, only makes sense to have 1 shop market. Could be Prince George, British Columbia. Right. You just have 1 business owner, and they're not looking to scale anywhere else. As a general, we're looking for people that are going to scale. And the markets that we are targeting in the GTA, Southwestern Ontario, and Atlantic Canada, they all require multi-unit opportunities, right? Right. Looking for someone that wants to grow into it. That's going to own anywhere from 2 to 10 locations. And you know what? And we feel that's going to make us more successful as a company, right? Because the more you dig into the business and become a business owner, own multiple locations, you're naturally going to get better at it, right? And we're going to develop a better relationship, and we'll both become to alignment about what our goals and direction are as a company, right? It's easier to get, I would say, alignment as an organization when you're dancing with I'd say a select few business owners as opposed to 80 individual business owners.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's a different caliber too. So, Malcolm, if someone was looking at Tommy Gunn's original barbershop business opportunities, and I've seen you talk to candidates before, and like the one thing that myself and Craig have always said is Malcolm doesn't try to sell. You don't just tell the story. And what would you say to a franchise, a potential owner that's looking maybe at this, maybe some other opportunities in that area of, can I do it? Am I right for it? Or what would you say in a few words to answer some questions for someone who's showing curiosity and maybe it's turned into interest with Tommy Guns?
I mean, you know what? That's a great question. I probably actually haven't been asked before, but I would say, you know what? Make sure the company you're going to join with aligns with who you are personally, right? You want to surround yourself and work with good people, and that's why I joined this company. You're surrounded by good people. And once you learn to interact here with the team, business unit leaders here at Tommy Guns, you realize there's a lot of good, talented people here. These people will do what's best for me, right? They will do what's best for the brand, right? They're not just interested in growing for the sake of growing, right? A lot of franchisors are just interested in opening doors, right? We're not.
Yeah.
Right. We take great pride in that. The fact that we don't close locations, right? The fact that we take our time in the site selection process. We take our time in selecting and awarding franchises. We don't sell them. We award franchises, right? We're in the long-term partnership together. It's 10 plus years. So we got to make sure it makes it work longer than most marriages. So we got to make sure that it works overall, right? So take your time, make sure it aligns with who you are personally. Does it meet your professional long-term goals, right? What's your overall strength? What's your plan? Do you want to own multiple locations? Are you looking at this for a passive income? Are you looking at to buy a cottage down the line? Are you looking to exit out of your company somewhere down your line? We get to 2 or 3 locations. Just make sure it checks off the boxes. Just don't take the first opportunity that's out there. Make sure they align with you, and you're going to people that you like, that you can trust, and that you respect. Right?
Great answer. Great answer. I think what'll happen is we work with many franchise brands in many different industries, and we're selective of the brands that we work with, obviously. And but what you'll see a lot, 95% of brands in Canada don't get past 10 units. Think about that. Yeah. So you guys are certainly one of the very, very few. I think that when you're looking, a lot of brands will put their resources into development, into new store openings. We see it. We hear some pretty nasty horror stories. So they'll put their dollars into development, into growth, but not into the operational success. But when you look at it, you look at your average unit volume, and you look at the fact that most of your owners, the vast majority are multi-unit owners, speaks that the franchise owners, the business owners that own Tommy Guns, they do quite well. And I think that coming back to it, finances is of course important. Of course, you need to make a buck. But one thing that we hear a lot of now, I'm 45 years old, especially with the generation that's coming up behind me, lifestyle and culture is very important. And I think when you look at it and go, hey, does this align with your values? You guys are truly genuine about that. It's not a script on the sales line that you have, and you can see that. But the lifestyle, and like you mentioned before, you're 9 to 9. You're not on taking it back Uber Eats returns at 2 a.m. And being in the food business as long as you were, and then coming on to this, and you're with 2 amazing brands, very iconic brands. What's the big thing about the service industry, specifically Tommy Guns, that really rung true? And what's so different about the franchise or the business owners that you're in business with?
You know what? I would say because we're making a difference in people's lives, right? Seeing that transformation and realizing when they're not selling haircuts in their confidence, when I see that light bulb go off in the business owner's eyes, they feel strongly passionate about it. So it's not just, I would say, not only the guests, but also the barbers. And what I mean by the barbers, the temporary foreign worker program. When I hear the barbers talk about the impact we made by individuals being trained in Manila, coming over to work here in Canada, and the tears in their eyes, and how we fundamentally affected them and their family, and how they come over and become permanent residences. And hearing the business owners talking about it, we had a fireside chat at our global summit. And we had 3 business owners talking about the temporary foreign worker program. And the 3 individuals are up on stage, they're almost in tears talking about the impact it made in lives. They feel good. It's like, we made a difference in someone's lives. Yes, you do. There's not too many sectors where you can really make a difference in people's lives. This sector, you get personal care services. People matter, right? People are dying to interact with other human beings, right? They want to have those touch points and the connections, right? Culture matters. You talked about, we do everything based upon net promoter score and our team promoter score. As our team members, are they happy? Do they want to work here? Would they recommend working for Tommy Guns? Are guests happy? Would they recommend coming to Tommy Guns for experience? Culture matters. Culture equals cash, to be transparent. It really does, right?
Oh, 100%.
Making sure everyone's comfortable in their own skin when they come into work. Can they make a difference when they walk in the door, right? Yes, you can. Can you bring your personality to work? Yes, you can, right? And that's one thing I love about this brand business. We do something better than anyone else. Is that I walked in the doors like they had all these great sayings written on the walls, but do they follow them in the halls? And they did. They practice what they preach, right?
Love it.
Lead the troops to the front. And that's with the business owners. They love the fact that they can walk in the door and have an honest conversation with us, adult to adult, and we'll work together through the problems and solutions. We're here to help you, right?
Love it. Love it, man. I think, and that brings us to my next question is, of course, we will get asked, and I'm sure you do, barbers, where do you find them? And so let's touch on the you know, kind of the offshore schools and the immigration program, because like anything in Canada, immigration's massive. And that's no different with the staff from Tommy Guns. And I'm sure that, you know, all of your barbers are not newcomers, but can you tell us about the offshore barber schools?
Sure. So Ken Fish, who started the company, also started Chatter. So in 2007, so before the start of Tommy Guns, he started bringing over temporary foreign workers. And he realized that there was a gap in the marketplace, not only for the sector and the Tommy Gun side, but on the Chatter side, but also on the talent side. There was a lack of schools or development of individuals that actually wanted to be able to perform services. So his thought process is, you know what, if we're not growing enough homegrown talent, I need to find it internationally. So we partnered with a salon school and a barbering school in Manila to develop talent, right? So he goes over there, does cut collection classes, develops an education and training system. So when the barber goes through 40 weeks of training before they come to Canada, they're ready to go, right? Now, Ken, of course, he's now transferred this onto our education team. We send our education in anywhere for 2 to 3 times a year. Usually, typically, they're 3 to 4 weeks. They do technical hair training. Make sure you can do the Tommy Guns cut collection. Make sure you have the right conversation. You can have the dialogue with the guests, and make sure you understand the importance of consultation. Can they actually extract out of the guest what they want in a haircut, what they want in a service? That's often where individuals fail on the barbering side, as they don't clearly understand what the guest wants. So therefore they can't meet the expectation. So we work hard on that. They go there twice a year. They have to pass the test twice. And then at that point in time, they're able to come over. So we do a really good job of developing talent internationally, that when they hit the shop, they're able to hit the ground running. They can cut hair. But also because of his sector experience, targeting stylists and cosmetologists that want to convert over to barbering. Men's hair is easier to cut. You can generate more cuts per hour. They tip better overall, right? It's an easier audience. So it's a multi-pronged approach, right? Going to the schools, having our education team talk to the talent, right? Having a barber talk about why you would want to join Tommy Guns. Not hearing from me, but hearing from a 20-year-old stage artist, right? That's who they want to hear from, another barber that they respect and like. So it's a multi-pronged approach for us as an organization to get talent to work for us.
Yeah, well, I mean, and again, when the talent to work for you, it's working for your owners, right? So that's huge what you guys do there. You know, it's there's not a lot of brands that can say they put that much effort into literally promoting employment for their owners, right? No, it's great.
And that's the thing, Steve. So if we want multi-unit owners. The only way we're going to get multi-unit owners if we have to get talent for them to work for them, right? So that way they can have people perform the services, generate the revenue to reinvest and buy other locations. That's just the reality of it, right? And we also make sure we take advantage of the low revenue stream. So get 2 temporary foreign workers right away when you first open the door. Start the application process. Do an application for 4 to 8 after year 1. We really embrace that. And then we work with the business owners and we manage up. We make sure they adhere to the timelines, right? And then we work with filling out and completing all the paperwork. We're here to help you. We want you to be successful.
Wow. I tell you, man, there's not much bad in this, huh? So I guess, you know, a few last things is, of course, a lot of potential candidates are going to look at it and go, okay, can I afford this? You know, and when we look at it, like you mentioned before, what's the percentage rates that banks usually finance with the Tommy Guns?
So typically we partner with BMO, RBC, TD, and CIBC right now. Typically they require a 30% liquid capital injection, right? So 172,500 off a 575 shop.
Right.
And then the bank will finance the remaining 70%. They will give you some operating capital as well as a credit card under the Tommy Guns program. We have national program with each one of the banks. So if you come to us, then we'll connect you with a national franchise manager who find you the local person that will get you under the Tommy Guns program. Right. We have a set program. We wanted to make it easier for business owners. So you walk in the doors, here you go, here's the package. They'll contact the local person and you just have to fill out this paperwork accordingly. Makes it easy, streamline the process to no end.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time, a lot of confusion. So that's massive, and again, having a profile and a program set up at the major banks where you can go in, that's just, it just seems that you check the boxes where you don't go, here's your FDD, let us know. And especially when you get into it, you're not saying, here's your operations manual, go get them, Tiger, right? You seem to provide a lot of those resources. So, I think that, so I know we talked about expansion. I know we talked about branding. What's the next few years look like for Tommy Guns Original Barbershop?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say a couple things that's going to happen. One is I think the industry is going to keep going through some transformation. So, and that would be work on developing more countries to get more temporary foreign workers, not just rely on the Philippines, because you never will happen with a country, right? Maybe it's a change in government and they want to lock down the border. So expanding to other countries and having other barbering schools, that'll be one of our key things we're going to work on. I would look at expanding to countries that align well with Canada that are very similar or like audiences, like say Scandinavian countries. It's a market that can pay for a premium product and premium service. They have their disposable income. They have very similar demographics, very similar breakdowns culturally, sports wise. You know what? We'll look at targeting countries like that and really making sure we solidify our dominance in Eastern Canada. Right. We are a very dominant player in Western Canada, focus on our dominance in Eastern Canada. So dominate Eastern Canada. I would say expanding our temporary foreign worker program to make sure we're not going to be held hostage if something happens wrong in the Philippines, right? With changing government. And then expanding it to countries that are similar like to us.
Right. Love it. Yeah. Now, one thing you mentioned, sports teams. How important is it to lock horns with your local sporting events? If you're looking at whether it's the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League or your local basketball, how important is that?
It's critically important because barbershops, you're part of the local community, right? If you want your community to support you, you need to support your community. It's just the way it works, people, right? And when you're out there supporting their kids, whether it's doing soccer, going to the lacrosse or baseball, whatever it may be, you're going to touch on their heartstrings. And you know what? You're not only doing something that's good for your business, but also doing something that's good for your community. You're going to feel good about it. And guess what? Also, your team members are going to feel good about it. You're giving back. They're going to want to work for a person that wants to give back, that really is reinvesting the revenue, the earnings that they're getting through the Tommy Guns Original Barbershop back in their local community. It matters to us supporting local. It really does.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Malcolm, what we're going to do after this too is you're going to see a link below on the podcast where you can click on it and get some information about franchise opportunities, business ownership opportunities for Tommy Guns. Thank you so much for your time today, man. You're a scholar and a gentleman. You're the easiest fella in the world to talk to.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what? And that's what I like. We're just having a conversation, right? We're not here to sell anyone in anything. We want to award franchise. We're going to be long-term partnerships, right? And I want to be the type of person that, you know what, that I'm going to have a pint with sitting at the bar and chicken wings and watching a hockey game. That's the type of people we want to do business with, right?
Yeah, we're not in the martini bar. We're in the pub. Huh?
Exactly. That's who we are.
Right. Yeah. Well, Malcolm, thanks so much for your time today, man. It has been an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate it. Hi, I'm Malcolm Wilson, Vice President of Global Development at Tommy Guns Original Barbershop, based in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia. I'm really enjoying my conversation today with Steve Collette, and I'm really interested to see how the podcast is going to go on FranCanada, talking about the Tommy Guns Original Barbershop opportunity. Why would you want to join the TG family, right? And I look forward to hearing from you, answering any questions you may have, because one thing I love about franchising, it lets your personal and business goals align. Listen to Steve. He's an expert. He's not going to steer you in the right direction. I'm really excited about how is pushing forward with FranCanada, because Canadian franchisors, they're some of the best franchisors in the world. We're a proud Canadian company. I'm proud to be part with another great Canadian partner, and Steve Collette and East Brands and FranCanada.
Thank you for joining us on the FranCanada podcast, where we speak all things franchising in Canada. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share below. You can also visit our website, our Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, Instagram, and please add me on LinkedIn, Steve Collette.